Have you ever noticed that the most powerful people speak less? That spiritual masters answer with long pauses? That those who are truly awake feel no need to prove absolutely anything? Today, I'm going to reveal why silence is not weakness, but the greatest power that exists on this plane of existence. And even more importantly, why you only discover this when you truly awaken. Because hey, erase the thing, there's a vast, almost unbridgeable difference between someone who has merely studied spirituality and someone who has actually crossed the portal of awakening. And that difference shows up in a very specific way in silence. So stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share can completely transform the way you relate to the world, to other people, and most importantly, to yourself. We live in a society completely addicted to noise. Everyone wants to talk, post opinions, defend their point of view, prove they're right, win arguments on social media. It's a constant deafening roar. But pause for a moment and think with me who actually transformed humanity. Buddha meditated in absolute silence beneath the Bodhi tree for years before reaching enlightenment. Jesus would repeatedly withdraw into the desert, away from the crowds, to connect with the divine in silence. The Taoist sages of ancient China chose to live in the mountains, embracing emptiness and non-doing. Sufi mystics practiced silent, dictative remembrance of God without words. Ramana Maharshi spent years in total silence before he ever began to teach. Do you see the pattern? Silence is not the absence of something. It is the full presence of everything. It's the moment you stop adding noise to the universe and begin to listen to what the universe is trying to tell you. And when you truly awaken, something very deep happens inside you. You understand viscerally, not intellectually, that you don't need to justify yourself to anyone. You don't need to convince others of your path. You don't need to react to every provocation, every criticism, every opinion about your life, because you discovered something most people go their entire lives without realizing. You are not the character that was created for you. You are not the story people tell about you. You are not even the thoughts passing through your mind. You are the pure awareness observing all of it. And pure awareness doesn't need to defend anything. It simply is. But let's slow down, because there's something fundamental I need to explain before we go further. True awakening is not a philosophical concept. It's not something you grasp by reading 10 spiritual books or watching 100 YouTube videos. Awakening is a lived experience. It's a rupture with illusion. It's the moment the veil falls and you see reality as it actually isn't as you were taught it should be. It's that sacred moment when you stop fully identifying with your thoughts, your emotions, your ego, your personal story. It's when you realize this as clearly as you realize you're breathing right now. I am not my fears. I am not my achievements. I am not my story of suffering. I am not that endless voice in my head that never stops judging, comparing, analyzing, and criticizing. And in that exact moment, something inside you changes forever. You no longer need to prove your worth to the world, because you can know with unshakable certainty who you are beyond all masks, beyond all social roles, beyond all the programming you received since birth. And when that happens, when you truly wake up from the collective illusion we call normal life, silence comes naturally. It's not forced. It's not a technique. It's an inevitable consequence of seeing through the ego game. Because before awakening, let me explain what's really going on. The ego completely dominates your existence. And the ego is incredibly loud. It needs constant attention. It needs to be right in every discussion. It needs to win arguments to feel superior. It needs endless validation from others. The ego is terrified of silence, because in silence, it stops existing. In silence, there's no character to perform, no role to play, no audience to impress. That's why people dominated by ego talk nonstop, post nonstop, react nonstop. It's a desperate attempt to prove they exist or maintain the illusion that they're important, relevant, significant. But when you awaken, the ego completely loses its grip on you. It doesn't disappear entirely. You still need it to function in the world, but it stops being the driver. It becomes just a tool you use when necessary and then put away. And then comes a silence that is natural, organic, and powerful. Now let me explain why this silence is the greatest power that exists, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. First point, and pay very close attention to this silence preserves your vital energy. Every unnecessary word you speak literally drains your energy. Every pointless argument steals your inner peace. Every time you try to convince someone who doesn't want to be convinced, you're throwing your energy into a void. Someone who is awakened understands that energy is sacred, limited, and precious. You don't have infinite energy to waste on everything, so you consciously choose where to invest it. You don't engage in empty debates online. You don't try to change people who didn't ask for your opinion. You don't waste precious words on those who aren't truly open to listening. This isn't arrogance. It's wisdom. It's the conscious preservation of your life force. Second point to absolutely crucial silence creates space for truth to emerge. In the emptiness of silence, your intuition can finally speak. Your inner wisdom, that subtle voice that was always drowned out by mental noise, can rise to the surface. You start listening to life instead of mechanically reacting to it. Spiritual masters don't answer questions quickly because they know that real answers are ones that actually don't come from conditioned, automatic thinking. They come from deep silence, from that space between thoughts where universal wisdom resides. When you speak too quickly, you're just repeating learned patterns, memorized concepts. But when you respond from silence, you access something far greater than your individual ego. You tap into collective consciousness, universal intelligence, the Tao, the divine, whatever name you choose. Third point, and this one is transformative silence, is absolute presence. When you're not constantly trying to speak, defend yourself, explain your choices, or justify your existence, you are fully present. And presence is the greatest gift you can offer the world, the people around you, and yourself. True presence is rare today. Everyone is on their phone, in their head, stuck in the past or the future, lost in worries and problems. But when someone who has awakened is near you, you feel it. You calm down. You open up. You feel truly seen, maybe for the first time in a long time, because that person isn't playing the ego game. They're not trying to impress you, convince you, or change you. They're simply present, resting in pure awareness, and that presence is magnetic in a way words can't describe. Fourth point, and many people miss this silence, is powerful spiritual protection. Those who talk too much reveal all their weaknesses. Those who react emotionally to everything show exactly where they can be hurt. Silence, on the other hand, is like an invisible shield. You don't feed unnecessary drama. You don't enter dense energies. You don't get contaminated by gossip, intrigue, or power games. You simply observe it all without getting involved, like watching a movie while knowing it's just a movie. And that gives you immense power because you can't be manipulated, provoked, or dragged into conflicts that don't serve you. You're above the game, not because you think you're better, but because you're no longer playing it. Now, let me share something extremely practical, because understanding this intellectually isn't enough. You need to embody it. How do you cultivate the power of silence in daily life, in the middle of chaos, provocation, and a noisy society? First, practice absolutely fundamental observe before reacting. This is revolutionary. When someone provokes you, criticizes you, or says something that would normally make you explode, breathe, take a deep breath, count to 5 before responding. And in that 5-second pause, ask yourself one crucial question. Do I really need to respond to this? Will this response improve the situation, or will it only satisfy my wounded ego? 90% of the time, you'll realize you don't need to respond. Most provocations are just fishing for an emotional reaction. When you deny that reaction, when you stay silent, you in the game without ever playing. Second, practice create sacred spaces of silence in your routine. Set aside at least 10 minutes a day, ideally early in the morning. Your phone. No TV, no music, no external distractions. Just you and silence. Sit comfortably, close your eyes if you want, and simply exist in that empty space. At first it will be uncomfortable. Your mind will scream. Thoughts and worries will flood in. Let them. Don't fight them. Just watch them pass like clouds in the sky. Over time, in this daily sacred silence, you'll reconnect with who you truly are beyond roles, beyond masks. Third, practice learn to speak only what's essential. Before opening your mouth, sending that long message, or posting online, pause and honestly ask yourself, does this really need to be said? Does it add something true and useful to the world? Or is it just my ego seeking attention, validation, visibility? Cut everything that isn't essential. Your words become fewer, but when you speak, they carry weight, power, and truth, and people will feel it. Fourth, practice, and this is deeply liberating, learn to say no without endless explanations. Someone who is awakened doesn't constantly justify themselves. A simple, firm, respectful no, without elaborate explanations, is infinitely more powerful than 1,000 excuses. When you over-explain, you're asking for permission. You're seeking approval. And you don't need anyone's permission to live the life your soul is calling you to live. Now, here is what I really want you to absorb, because this can change your life starting today. Silence doesn't make you invisible. On the contrary, silence makes you magnetic in a way noise never can. The right people, those vibrating at the same frequency, are naturally drawn to your peace, your presence, your powerful silence. And the wrong people, those addicted to drama, conflict, and dense energy, naturally drift away because they can't manipulate you, provoke you, or pull you down to their level. Silence becomes a natural filter. It repels what doesn't serve you and attracts exactly what you need. You don't need to shout to be truly heard. You don't need to fight every argument to be right. You don't need to compulsively explain yourself to be understood by the right people. Because when you truly awaken, when you cross this portal of expanded consciousness, you discover the most liberating truth of all. You never needed anyone's approval. You were never what people said about you. You were never the character they created in their minds. You have always been pure, eternal, immortal consciousness simply watching the great game of life unfold. And pure consciousness doesn't need to make noise to exist. It doesn't need to prove anything, because it is the source of everything. It doesn't need to convince anyone, because it is the only truth there is. So when you rest in this deep silence, when you relax into the awareness that you truly are, you discover a power that no word, no argument, no opinion could ever give you. You discover the power of simply being. And let me tell you something few people dare to say. The world belongs to those who shout, but the universe responds to those who are silent. The world values noise, movement, constant agitation, but the universe is supreme intelligence that organizes galaxies and makes your heart beat without your permission, speaks only in silence. God, the divine, the Tao, whatever name you choose, it whispers. It never shouts. And if you're making too much noise, you won't hear it. So the question is, are you ready to embrace this powerful silence? Are you ready to stop trying to convince the world of your worth and simply know who you are? Are you ready to step out of the ego game and into awakened consciousness? If this video stirred something deep within you, leave one word in the comments that represents what you're feeling right now. Just one word. Let's create a space of conscious silence together down there. And if you feel ready to go deeper on this awakening journey, subscribe to the channel. Every week I share content like this, direct, honest, and revealing for those who have consciously chosen the path of expanded awareness. And hit that like button if this message truly resonated with you, because it helps us reach others who need to hear it. Always remember, power lives in silence. Truth lives in silence. And in silence, you finally find yourself.